So with Halloween quickly approaching, I wanted to do as many horror films as I could. So let's start off with one that's actually kind of good. Saw. Saw is by no means the Citizen Kane of horror films, but in my opinion it actually accomplishes what it sets out to do, which is kind of disturb you and get under your skin. So no doubt most people will have watched this movie or at least heard of it, so I won't get too much into the plot. Which basically boils down to two guys trapped in a room as they are the newest pawns in a serial killer's twisted game. And if I can be honest for a second, I fucking love the simplicity of the idea. Sure, there are flashbacks that help build this world that these characters occupy, but the majority of the film, the heart and soul, is these two guys in a room. And yes, it does hurt it that only one of the actors is actually good.
Who are you? You know who I am.
For the most part, this movie has two major criticisms. The shitty-ass sequels and also giving birth to the fucking torture porn franchise. But if you approach it as a standalone horror film as it was originally intended to be, it actually is pretty engaging. Now, I would be doing a huge disservice to this film if I didn't mention some of the talent behind the camera, namely James Wan and Leigh Whannell. Now, say what you want about these two, but in my opinion, these guys know how to just make a really fun movie, kind of like Sam Raimi. Now, Leigh Whannell, the writer of the film, also stars as Adam, which is also the greatest actor in the world.
You could be the one who put me in this room!
Now, to his credit, he's a writer, not an actor. And since that's clearly the case here, why give yourself the second biggest part in the fucking movie? Speaking of actors, there are actually two good ones in the movie. Danny Glover and the powerhouse himself, Cary Elwes.
I know it's you, you son of a bitch!
Larry.
Holly?
Now, Cary Elwes would later go on to sue the producers of the Saw franchise for the later sequels for just mentioning his character. Or some shit like that, I don't know. I'm sure you're asking, what does that have to do with the movie? Nothing. Just kind of reveals what kind of person he is. Now, these films are known for three major things. The death traps, the serial killer who doesn't really fucking kill anybody, and of course, the twist. It's a bit of a cliche at this point, but as I stated before, watch it as a standalone movie, yada yada, it's not so bad. You know, like before it got turned into the Resident Evil franchise. And speaking of the Resident Evil franchise, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Saw 1 gets a 4 out of 5.
Game over!
Well, that sucks.